Hello everyone! Today, you're going to learn real, advanced English vocabulary in context. We'll follow a story that uses these words naturally so you understand them through comprehensible input. Let's begin! In a coastal town, where the sea breeze was strong and the people kind, lived a young woman named Mira. Mira resided in a small apartment above a bookstore. She wasn't rich, but she was thoughtful, curious, and full of capability. Every day, she read old manuscripts, full of verse and stories of rebellion, diplomatic strategies, and prestigious families. Her favorite story, a tale of how one nation tried to abolish injustice and uphold truth. One day, Mira saw a poster on the wall. It was propaganda, made to mobilize people against a group they didn't understand. It was full of prejudice and that deeply disturbed her. How can people be so easily influenced? She asked. She remembered how her grandfather once tried to formulate a fair system, one where every tenant had rights, every ballot counted, and every transaction was transparent. Inspired, Mira decided to deploy a new idea. She would write a manuscript of her own. It would invoke justice, question old monopolies, and show people a new pathway to truth. She stayed up past noon, writing and rewriting. Though her apartment was small, her ideas were profound and endless. Soon, people began to read her book. Some found it disturbing, it challenged what they believed. Others found it beautiful, its aesthetic and message resonated. Even the mayor, a longtime official, was moved. He decided to enact new laws that protected autonomy, reduced gambling, and made clean water more accessible. It was an unprecedented shift. But not everyone was happy. An old media tycoon tried to divert attention with scandal. He had credibility, but his motive was selfish. A debate followed, one full of contradictions and compromise. Yet Mira stayed calm, her words strong but subtle. She didn't attack. She asked questions. Her style was revolutionary, not loud, but lethal to lies. In the end, Mira was appointed to lead a new education program. Her work became her legacy. She used donations and fundraising to support schools, libraries, and artists. Even those who once rejected her now congratulated her. Her story became an indicator that one voice could cause a wave. Now let's look at some of those 60+ words. We'll start with the challenging ones, then move to the easier ones. And if this is your first time here, subscribe for more free lessons. First, reside. To reside means to live in a particular place. I reside in a small apartment, she said. Notice the pronunciation of reside. It sounds like reside instead of reside. Reside, reside. To reside. Next, formulate. To formulate means to form or develop a plan or a theory. She formulated a fair system, so when we say formulate, we mean to come up with something. Like you want to lose weight and get healthy, so you formulate a plan that includes diet and exercise. Moving on, deploy. To deploy means to use something strategically. She decided to deploy a new idea. The military often deploys soldiers to different areas based on their needs. For example, the army deployed additional troops to the border. Deploy, to use something strategically. Next, postulate. To postulate means to put forward a proposition or a hypothesis for consideration. He postulated that the glass was half empty. Postulate. To postulate. When someone postulates something, they are proposing an idea that might be true. For example, Scientists postulate that life existed on Mars millions of years ago. Postulate. Next, denote. To denote means to be a sign or indication of something. What does this symbol denote? It denotes danger. That is, the symbol denotes danger. The word denote is similar to the word denotation, which means a literal meaning of a word or phrase. For example, the denotation of the word book is an object that is bound together, leaves made of paper, cover, spine. Moving on, venerable. Venerable means worthy of respect because of age, wisdom, or character. She was a venerable teacher who had dedicated her life to education. So if someone is venerable, they are very respected and admired by others. Next, preclude. To preclude means to prevent something from happening. Her illness precluded her from attending school. Preclude. To preclude. Next, robust. Robust means strong and healthy. It was a robust economy that allowed many people to prosper. Robust, strong, and healthy. Next, disseminate. To disseminate means to spread or scatter something widely. They disseminated information about the upcoming election. Disseminate, to disseminate. Next, impediment. An impediment is something that gets in the way of making progress. There are no impediments to your success. Impediment. The word is uncountable, so we don't use an impediment. We use an impediment. Next, facilitate. To facilitate means to make something possible or easier to do. They are trying to facilitate communication between the two countries. So when we say facilitate, we mean to help something happen. Next, ambivalent. Ambivalent means having mixed feelings or uncertainty about something. She was ambivalent about accepting the job offer. Ambivalent, having mixed feelings or uncertainty. Next, assess. To assess means to evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, or worth of something. The manager will assess the damage to the building. Assess, to assess. Next, contrast. Contrast means to present two things in order to highlight their differences. She contrasted the old regime with the new one. The word contrast can also be used as a noun. Next, scrutinize. To scrutinize means to examine or inspect something very closely. The inspector scrutinized the bridge for any signs of damage. Scrutinize, to examine or inspect something very closely. Next, feasible. Feasible means practical or possible to do. Is it feasible to repair the phone? Feasible, practical or possible to do. Next, mundane. Mundane means ordinary or boring. He had a mundane job working in a bank. So when something is mundane, it is not interesting or exciting. Next, peripheral. Peripheral means relating to or situated on the edge or periphery of something. The peripheral areas of the city were neglected. Peripheral, relating to or situated on the edge or periphery of something. Next, eradicate. To eradicate means to destroy something completely, especially something undesirable or harmful. We need to eradicate poverty from our society. Eradicate, to destroy something completely. Next, substantial. Substantial means large in amount or size. He gained substantial knowledge and experience. Substantial, large in amount or size. Next, coherent. Coherent means of a person able to think logically and speak or write clearly and understandably. She couldn't form a coherent sentence after the accident. Coherent, able to think logically and speak or write clearly. Next, constitute. To constitute means to be the elements or parts of a whole. These elements constitute the basic structure of the universe, so when something constitutes something else, it is one of the parts that forms that thing. Next, tentative. Tentative means not certain or agreed to yet. He expressed tentative support for the new proposal. Tentative, not certain or agreed to yet. Next, enigmatic. Enigmatic means having or presenting features that are mysterious, puzzling, or difficult to understand. She had an enigmatic smile that always intrigued me. Enigmatic, having or presenting features that are mysterious. Next, resonate. To resonate means to produce or be filled with sound. The empty room resonated with my footsteps. Resonate, to produce or be filled with sound. Next, epitome. The epitome of something is a perfect example of it. She is the epitome of a hardworking student. Epitome. Next, paradox. A paradox is a statement that seems self-contradictory but is actually true. He spoke in paradoxes that only a few understood. Paradox, a statement that seems self-contradictory but is actually true. Next, obsolete. Obsolete means no longer relevant or in use. That old machine is obsolete now. Obsolete, no longer relevant or in use. Next, inertia. Inertia is a tendency to remain unchanged or unmoved. Inertia is a reason why it's hard to start exercising. Inertia, a tendency to remain unchanged or unmoved. Next, discern. To discern means to be able to recognize or distinguish something. She could discern the difference between right and wrong. Discern, to recognize or distinguish. Next, arbitrary. Arbitrary means based on random choice or personal whim rather than on reason or system. It was an arbitrary decision with no clear reasoning behind it. Arbitrary, based on random choice or personal whim. Next, rigid. Rigid means not capable of bending or changing. His rigid beliefs made it impossible for him to accept new ideas, so when something is rigid, it is inflexible and unyielding. Next, pinnacle. The pinnacle of something is the highest point or the peak. She reached the pinnacle of success in her career. Pinnacle. Next, intervene. To intervene means to become involved in a situation in order to improve or change it. The teacher intervened to stop the fight between the students. Intervene, to become involved in a situation. Next, dissipate. To dissipate means to disappear, to scatter, or to spread out into thin air. The fog dissipated, revealing a clear blue sky. Dissipate. Next, recurrent. Recurrent means occurring again and again. He had a recurrent dream that he was falling. Recurrent, occurring again and again. Next, obscure. To obscure means to make something unclear or unintelligible. The thick fog obscured the road ahead. Obscure. Next, axiom. An axiom is a statement that is accepted as being true without proof. Honesty is an axiom in their family. Axiom, a statement that is accepted as being true without proof. Next, adversary. An adversary is someone who opposes or fights against someone or something. She faced her adversaries with courage and determination. Adversary, someone who opposes or fights against someone or something. Next, detrimental. Detrimental means causing harm or damage. Smoking can have detrimental effects on your health. Detrimental, causing harm or damage. And next, archaic. Archaic means very old or old-fashioned. He used archaic language that most people don't understand. Archaic, very old or old-fashioned. Next, Devoid. Devoid means completely lacking or free from something. The room was devoid of furniture. Devoid, completely lacking or free from something. And next, ascertain. To ascertain means to find out or discover something with certainty. She tried to ascertain the truth behind the rumors. Ascertain, to find out or discover. Next, exacerbate. To exacerbate means to make a situation or problem worse. The drought exacerbated the water shortage. Exacerbate, to make a situation or problem worse. Next, amplify. To amplify means to make something louder or stronger. She amplified her message by using repetition and vivid examples. Amplify, to make something louder or stronger. And next, coalesce. Coalesce means to come together and form a single mass or whole. The droplets coalesced into a large water droplet. Coalesce, to come together. Next, conjecture. Conjecture means an opinion or guess based on incomplete information. He made a conjecture about the cause of the problem. Conjecture, an opinion or guess. And next, condone. To condone means to overlook or forgive something that is considered to be wrong. She did not condone cheating, lying, or stealing. Condone, to overlook or forgive something. Next, compensate. To compensate means to make up for or to repay. The company will compensate the customers for their losses. Compensate, to make up for or to repay. Next, compile. To compile means to collect or gather information or data together. She compiled all her research notes into a single document. Compile, to collect or gather information or data together. Next, concede. To concede means to admit that something is true or to give up a position. He conceded defeat gracefully. Concede, to admit that something is true. And finally, tenacious. Tenacious means tending to keep a firm hold of something. She had a tenacious grip on the steering wheel. Tenacious, tending to keep a firm hold of something. These are some of the challenging English words you may not have heard before. You've just heard a story using real English, and more than 60 of these advanced vocabulary words like entitle, rotate, vacuum, strand, dual, situated, linear, ratio, and feminist. By listening in context, you learn naturally. That's the power of comprehensible input. Would you like a second episode?